for July 12, 2023 at 6:30. All righty, roll call. Sarah, would you mind taking the roll for us, please?
Absolutely. Tom Sonnek.
Here.
Carey Nadeau.
Here.
Amanda Black is not here. Stacy Maher.
Here.
Emily Haeg Nguyen.
Here.
Lisa Ritchie is not here. C. Yang.
I am here.
Cecelia Goracki.
There's Amanda.
Lisa Wong will be late today, and Amanda Black is walking it.
Yay!
All right, and we have Sarah Lang, our commission secretary. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
How are you?
Could be worse.
I guess that's good.
It's a Minnesota response. Okay, we're going to adopt the agenda now. So anybody have any suggestions or changes that you'd like to recommend before I entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as is? Okay, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Maybe I should hit this again. Anybody?
So moved.
Thank you. Carey, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? Agenda is adopted. Boy, we got through that part. Okay, approval of minutes from June 7th. Everyone have a chance to look over the minutes? Any suggestions or changes? Otherwise, I will look for a motion to approve.
You know, the one thing I was hoping I would see would be a reflection of our robust discussion about culture. I don't see that
Yeah,
in
it was
these minutes.
just kind of mentioned at the end
Yeah.
that we would talk about it.
Yep. I don't know if that's enough. I feel like we had some really good conversation about that and involving culture in the work that we do.
Would you like to suggest some additions that could be added later?
Oh, sure. How about an addition of a recommendation for a DEI staff person for the city to consider?
Is that what we talked about the last
Yeah,
time?
we did.
We did? Okay. So maybe, Carey, do you want to write something up and
I would
send it
love
to
to.
Sarah, and then we can add that? So we'll table the minutes, the approval of the minutes now to reflect those additions the next time? Is that okay, Sarah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we can approve this with the conditions.
We
of-
can approve as it, with the condition? Okay, let's
Yeah.
go, let's do that then.
Let's do that
You want to
then.
go ahead and approve with the condition that Carey will send some additions regarding our robust discussion about culture from our last meeting. Everybody okay with that? Anyone want to make a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Seconded.
Okay, we got a move by Emily, a second by Amanda. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Okay, good. So we got the minutes approved with addendum to come. Meeting open to the public. We have no one here. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
Okay. All right, public hearings. We don't have any public hearings. So we're moving on to commission business and action items and recommendations, so we'll update our subcommittees. So we'll start at the top again with Project Snowy. So would Stacy, C, or Amanda like to take a stab at giving us an update on Project Snowy?
We would love to. I can kick us off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we've had a chance to meet, and so if you go to the North St. Paul website, we do have a web page on it with information for vendors, people who would be interested in purchasing, and some more information on the Snowy project itself as well. And so, aside from that, I think we've kind of run through the timeline. We seem to be on track. Amanda has put together this great outreach, which I will pass to her to talk a little bit more about. But that is the update for now, as far as the other stuff, yeah.
So I have arranged a plan. You saw the outreach plan I sent out last month. We are now ready to go forward with that, with the website agreements fully in place, and I have flyers here that Sarah has so lovingly printed for us. I've split the city into 3 sections: businesses on 7th Avenue, and then east and west of Margaret. We have then split up those 3 sections, so the east section will be handled by C and Tom. The 7th Avenue section will be handled by myself and Emily. And the west section will be handled by Stacy, Carey, and Lisa Ritchie. West is a little bit larger than the other sections, so that's why they get 3. And then Cece and Lisa Wong may jump in if needed. I do have a list of the businesses I will give to people who, like your section, tonight. And our hope then is that you can bring these flyers out to your businesses and at least deliver these flyers to all of these organizations before our August meeting would be ideal.
Okay. Cool. So the idea then, Amanda, is that so we're going to go to each business, check it off, and we want to just try and hand deliver it to somebody
Yes.
there and answer any questions on the spot.
Each group can decide how they're going to go about that, whether they want to go out as a group or
Okay.
split the list individually. Stacy, C, and I have access to this spreadsheet where we'll update information, whether that business has already said, no thanks, I don't want to be a part of this, or if they're interested in more information, we can then update it there.
Okay.
So we're keeping track of everything.
Great.
Any other questions?
No, sounds great. The flyer looks great. And do we just kind of like tri-fold that thing? Or-
Yes.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, excellent work. So that's our next step.
That's our
Get
next
these
step.
flyers out to all the businesses by our August meeting.
Start getting purchases. We do have one purchase already done with Premier Banks. That was from the
Excellent.
initial outreach last year. And our goal would be to get at least 10.
Excellent. Love it. Anything else on that one? Anybody down here? Cece, any questions? You want to buy one?
Yeah, so the only other thing is that we will be starting to work on the RFP for open artist calls.
Oh, great.
So that will be the following step after this.
Excellent. Okay, anything else on Snowy? If not, I can't wait to show you the mural stuff.
Okay. Let's do it.
Can I do it?
Go for it.
Please do.
Okay. I'm gonna show you some mural stuff.
I saw what Sara sent over email. That was pretty exciting stuff.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for allowing me some time to speak at your meeting. Okay, I am unbelievably stoked by the response that we got from artists for this mural project. Really excited. And so I want to just start by kind of walking you through this deck that we put together. Part of this was to share with the artists. So most of this deck was shared with the artists when we put out the call. And I think we sent to 34?
Yep.
34 muralists in the cities. Who knew there were that many? You know, trying to really explain to them what we're looking for and to get some response from them. And then most of this deck then was also used at the Parks Commission to in the spirit of collaboration and awareness. You know, we weren't asking for a vote from them or anything like that, but we are asking for a vote from this commission tonight on which muralist we would like to go to. So starting out with, and you know, feel free to use this wherever you want. This is just some, what's the value of public art in North St. Paul? And I thought these were some of the key tenets that I think really define why we're doing what we're doing, what's the value of this at all. And I think there's a ton of value. And I think when you look at what these artists have submitted to, that adds even further. So the Silver Lake Mural Project, you know, why this? So I think we talked about this before. Public Works was already refurbishing this whole bathroom building, and we caught them just in the nick of time where they were about to put out a request for painters to just repaint the outside of the building, probably the same color. And as part of that, they were going to be pulling out all of the shrubbery around the bathroom and replanting something different after the fact. So it was a great opportunity for us to say, hey, before you go and paint that tan or brown, how about if we did a mural on that? And part of that came from some of the community survey feedback that we had when you all put together the community survey for the utility boxes, right? So that was a very fruitful survey. So appreciate the work that was done there, because we got this information. I think at the end of the deck, it talks about how many people actually mentioned this bathroom building to be painted, which I think was really cool. So it was kind of all came together at once. So we want a really vibrant, high-quality mural to be painted on this building. We want it to be complementary to the area. And really want, I want it to be one of those things that really gives people a sense of place. Like, people feel proud to see this thing. People feel proud to see our bathrooms in North St. So this is some of the information that we put out to the artists. The plan, we developed it, a targeted call, meaning we reached out directly to artists that we found. And then we would select artists and the mural design, so made by the Arts and Culture Commission. So that's where we are tonight. We want to have a preference for artists willing to work with residents in the design preparation and/or execution of the mural. And all of the artists who responded with a design or interest in doing it and availability were very interested in working with the community, and they were open to any type of way of doing that. Just a note here, and I think this is actually open for discussion, especially after our meeting with the Parks Commission, but it says south-facing side will not have a mural design, but will be painted complementary to the mural colors. So it lessens distraction to the street side, but reduces overall costs. I think, that there may be some wiggle room in there. The Parks Commission was very intrigued by the designs and thought, well, those people might feel left out if we didn't paint the whole thing. And again, the shrubs will be removed and replaced by Public Works as part of their original renovation plan. We're not removing any greenery due to putting in the art. Wanted that to be super duper clear. No trees will be harmed for the sake of the art. They're going to be killed regardless. Just here's a view from the beach. Here's a view from kind of that picnic area on the other side. Again, the shrubs are coming down. Here's a view from the parking lot, so you kind of get an idea of the three sides that would be muralized. So I want to show you the three artist submissions. So the first one came from an artist named Molly McDougall. She has a website here. You can click on that link in the deck. I'd have to send out a new one. I just added this tonight. But she did not send in a specific design for the bathroom building, but rather said, hey, you can go to my website and see all the murals I did to get an idea, and then she'd be willing to work with us. So to give you an idea, this is what the kind of work that she does, which I think is really vibrant and really cool, a lot of nature-themed types of things here, but no specific design for our location. The second one, this is Tomas Araya. I can't remember where he said he was born. Do you remember?
Chile?
Chile, yeah, maybe, I think so. Went for a very natural kind of thing, appreciation for the environment. He's done a lot of really neat things, a lot of murals under his belt already, things involving his respect and love of nature. So I think that was really cool. So here's a design of the front, and then he also did designs for both ends. So he showed what it could be, fully three-sided with unique designs on each side. And then lastly, we have Taylor Berman. This is the third design. You can see what he has here. Focuses on, he did such a really great discussion or submission of why he chose this design, how he feels about his approach to the work, and a lot of that can be seen. If you look at this slide in your deck, there is a notes section underneath it, and it gives kind of the more full version of what you see right here, but why he chose this. So he did come to Silver Lake with his family, looked at the building, saw red-winged blackbirds, saw some of this native sandbar willow, and so incorporated those things right into his design. So I thought that was really neat. So complementary to the area for sure. So that's, and he submitted two versions. One was just with kind of a blue door design to take away that brown. But anyway, so all of these artists are very open and willing to work with the community, but we would like here tonight to select one of these artists so that we can get moving and get this thing done before the summer's over. Any questions about the artist submissions?
Just really quickly, did you provide that outline of the building for them to like do design on? He says-
Well, we didn't provide just a blank slate, so they just kind of came up with that on their own.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Another quick question. So did we say where these artists are from? Are they local or within
They
the,
are all local, yeah.
like within the metro area?
Yeah, I think so. I think Taylor's like more like Stillwater area, something like that. I know he's done some work, a lot of work in Stillwater.
So none of them are from North St. Paul?
No,
Okay,
no.
just to clarify.
There was also, Carey, I don't know if you know, how many other artists that had responded and said that they were interested but just weren't available or had some of
Yeah,
it.
there were 2 or 3 that were interested, but just couldn't make it work for the time frame that we had available.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I was really, really pleased to see what we got back in response on this.
Good interest.
It's gonna be a hard choice.
Good work, you guys.
Do we want to take a vote now? And then there are some, additional details that could be shared depending on which one we choose.
Yes.
Or Carey, do you want to make a motion for one of these artists? Or I don't know if anybody wants to make a motion, or we can.
Are we voting on those 3 that you showed?
We only have these 3 artists to choose from. So there's Molly, Tomas, and Taylor, this design.
And in the spirit of collaboration too, when you guys presented at Park and Rec, they were really receptive. I think they preferred the Taylor, this last artist as well. So if that matters to you in your decision-making.
Who is it?
The
The Parks.
Park and Rec Commission, yeah.
I'm not ready to vote. Is there any, can we like talk about it or, yeah, I really, really like both submissions. I feel like, yeah, I'm just not sold.
Yeah, so we met as a subcommittee and kind of went through in more detail all 3 submissions. And they're all, it's such a tough choice, right? It's like Sophie's choice, picking which child you want to move forward. But I think when you look at the work the experience that Taylor has had and his plans for outreach, so his ideas were to have kids building and decorating birdhouses that would be put in the parks, not just at Silver Lake, but maybe across all the parks in North St. Paul. So it could be kind of a birdhouse scavenger hunt, which I was really intrigued by that. So I think that could be really a lot of fun, and I'm really drawn to this art. I think it really speaks to the vibrancy of North St. Paul, and we're on this precipice of this new arts and culture movement here. Yeah, it's a tough call, but that's my choice.
What about Tomas? I feel drawn.
And I agree, and I also love his work, and I would love to work with him in the future. I'm not sure this is the best collaboration for him.
Is it because you like Taylor's outreach better, or is there a reason?
Yeah, basically that. I just like Taylor's better. Not that I like Tomas's any less. I just
Between the 2 of those mock-ups, I do feel like Taylor's speaks more to the lake area, whereas Tomas, it's a little too bright and colorful for that area. I could see his, like you're saying, like at Love Ice Cream or something.
exactly, yeah. And based on the survey that was done, I mean, there were like 6 different locations that citizens want to see murals. So it's not like we're at a loss for murals locations. So we're going to be drawing from this pool for a while.
Yeah, I think, I was so impressed with the quality of the artists that submitted. And I thought, because we put the budget out there in the request. We said, here's how much money you have to work with. So I wasn't sure if we'd get any responses, but to have 3, really quality artists, to me, it just said, okay, we're going to pick one of these and we're going to tell the other 2, stay tuned. I think there might be more opportunities in the future.
Are we planning on doing another mural next year? So
Yes.
like very soon.
Yes, mm-hmm.
So we could even maybe start establishing where that one will be. and
Exactly, and
working
that
with
could also impact, what we're looking for in the budget. We had our budget discussion where we had proposed 10,000 in the budget. Next year, we may be able to get something done, well, we can get something done for less than that, I'm sure, especially if it's a smaller scale. I mean, the bathroom building isn't that big, so. Yeah, we would, however, we really need to take a vote tonight on these because it's middle of July already, and we want to get it done by the end of summer. And otherwise, we'd have to wait till our next Arts and Culture Commission. As Sara mentioned, the Parks Commission felt very strongly about this one. I also really feel strongly about this. I think it's a fantastic design. And I do think there are other opportunities that we can do with this artist that could be mixed in with the the Autumn Arts Festival. So perhaps this birdhouse design thing could be used as something we do we had talked about for the Autumn Arts Festival having artist, what do we call it?
Demonstrations?
Demonstrations, right. So this could be an artist demonstration. And if we do move forward with Taylor, I'd like to talk further about that with the commission here as well, so.
I do, just based on what everyone is saying, I think I see your point, and I just want to say, I think it's also really cool. I'm also in love with this design from Tomas, and I think it's really cool that he did go out of his way to put together this really detailed mock-up. So I would just say that, if we're on the same page and we end up voting and, for Taylor, I just think maybe it'd be nice to reach out to Tomas and just tell him that we really appreciate it and
Oh,
we
for sure.
Oh, for sure.
definitely, yeah,
Tomas
want
and
him.
Molly.
Yeah, I think there are opportunities in North St. Paul for the future for any of these artists.
And how exciting that we have these three
Yeah.
artists that are like, we want to come to North St.
Yeah,
Paul and do our
yeah.
art. I mean, yeah. Everyone should want to come here.
So it sounds like we're leaning in one direction unless anybody has something else. Just as the commission chair, I don't want to make the motion on this, but if somebody wants to make a motion for one of these artists, we can take a vote on that and see if it passes. And if not, we'll go back to discussion.
I make a motion for Taylor with the blue doors.
Ooh.
Do we need to motion to vote?
Anybody have a second on that for Taylor's design? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor of reaching out to Taylor and accepting this as the submission for the Silver Lake Bathroom Building Project mural, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, did we have everybody?
Can I say, I don't oppose, but then I also,
You want to add a friendly amendment?
Abstain?
well, I also like Tomas, but I can also see where you guys are going with it, and sounds like, if it's the majority of this council, I am not opposed, council, commission. I'm not opposed.
Can we amend that to say Tomas is our second and immediately reach out to him with options for second mural?
Well, so I think we'd have to be careful about that. I think for next mural, we're going to have to play that by ear. There may be situations, especially with grant writing, where we're working with a specific artist where we want to push that forward. Or there may be, if it's coming out of this commission's budget and the city's fund, that we would have to do another call for artists. But, I think we will absolutely reach out to, Tomas and Molly, and to say how much we appreciated their submissions, and that we will definitely, reach out to them again with future projects. But I don't think it would be fair to try and promise anybody anything.
Sure.
I
don't think you should try to promise anything, but I do think, although this meeting is public, so they could very well be
Sure.
doing it in right now, hey. I don't think anyone should get a rejection yet. And I don't think you should string along the other two artists, but make sure things will work first. So that the other two artists aren't necessarily second choice, because that never feels good to be second choice. But you don't want to stall this project out if by some chance something with Taylor falls through.
Yep, that's a really good point. I'll talk to Taylor
Yeah.
tonight and see if we can move that forward, and if not, then we can,
Okay.
perfect.
All right, so I think we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least votes for Taylor Berman submission. So we'll move forward, reach out to Taylor. There was, this is just at the end of the deck, there's some of this additional information, so I'm going to go back to my chair. If we could, I could talk about this now, as it's kind of an addendum to the mural project, or it would also come up in the Autumn Arts Festival. There is the artist that we just selected for the mural, Taylor Berman. He had also, like Carey mentioned, there's a birdhouse project that he could do as a way to engage the community. And to me, this sounds like, it's like a win-win situation, because I think we could engage with Taylor in that way. But I would also, I think it would be the perfect thing to do as one of this artist demonstration ideas at the Autumn Arts Festival. It's something that we could build up and tell people that they can come and build a birdhouse with the artist who painted the mural on the bathroom building. And then some of these birdhouses, I don't know how this would execute exactly just yet, but I think we could hang birdhouses in Casey Park, Silver Lake Park, whatever, any of these parks that some of the residents had built, and I think it would be really cool. And then that then would become a public art installation. And if you recall from our budget for this year, we had $2,000 set aside in our budget for art installation. So I would also like to ask the commission here if we could earmark half of that money for the birdhouse project. So this would be not part and parcel of the mural project, but would be a second project with that artist that would happen at the Autumn Arts Festival.
Would any of that be going towards the artist, or is it all towards supplies and materials?
I don't know. I think we'd have to figure that out. I think if we said, hey, it's $1,000 inclusive of everything, if you have supplies or whatever, and the supplies cost him $500 and he gets $500 to be there and run the event, I'm fine with that.
Do we still have the art cart paint that we use to graffiti the art cart? Because that could also,
The orange stuff or all the other stuff?
all of it,
Probably,
because that could be
sure.
provided supplies
I mean, we
for
have a lot of
birdhouses.
things, yeah.
Tons of supplies in the.
And it's outdoor friendly.
I
Yeah.
know that Lisa went and did a inventory of the supplies. I don't know what was included.
Okay. Well, Ramsey County Hazardous Waste Recycling was our resource for a lot of that paint for free.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we can maybe support him ahead of the festival.
Yeah, for sure. So we could help supply some of those supplies, some of the paints and everything. So I'd love to be able to offer this to Taylor at the same time as the mural. So I'm here to ask the commission if we can offer that up to $1,000 to fund the event to build the birdhouses at the Autumn Arts Festival.
I have another question. Are the birdhouses being built at the festival or decorated at the festival?
I don't know. I think we have to probably talk to the artist and see what he's thinking there. And then I think that's probably how we could help budget it out. I mean,
But that would be such an easy collaboration with the Parks Department. I mean, just like
Yeah.
whip a couple of birdhouses together. That's like right up their alley, you know?
I don't know. Yeah, so it would be something that we would have to talk through. I mean, obviously, we haven't been able to talk through any of the logistics or any of these things with the artist because we haven't selected the artist.
And then I'd be interested how many he would be planning on
Right.
creating.
Yep. So we'd want to have a fair amount. I think it would be kind of cool. It's almost like a mini Snowy project in a sense, like to have these birdhouses. And I think it would be cool, having that artist, the idea here is that the mural would be done. It's going to draw more attention to that. Taylor has a very distinct style. If you look at his website, he's done a lot of murals all over the Twin Cities. And there's really neat style, and I think maybe there's something to, replicate his style with people that want to come and participate at the Arts Festival. And then, maybe then we treat these things afterwards or something, and then we hang them up, or Public Works hangs them up in different places. I think it'd be kind of fun.
So question, is the engagement with the community at Autumn Arts Festival his idea?
It was, well, not at the Arts Festival, but it was his idea to do the birdhouse thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
So the Arts Festival was our idea.
And proposed to him already?
No.
Okay.
So I mean, we're just saying, hey, if we were gonna do a birdhouse thing, why not do that at the Autumn Arts Festival? Because we could, it would be a win-win for that event
I
as
see.
well.
Because I'd be curious on what his strategy was for community outreach or engagement. If it wasn't at the Autumn Arts Festival, did he have other ways that he was planning on doing it? Because I'd be interested in seeing his outreach towards, because Autumn Arts Festival, it hits a certain targeted population. And, I'm wondering, was his plan to, do other types of outreach
Yeah.
to reach other kind of communities within North St. Paul, or was it more so, or did he need more help with that? And then if so, then, us providing that outlet of Autumn
I
Arts.
think that's it. I think, this was his idea, was to do the birdhouses, but then looking to us to partner and help him find the right home in which to do that. So
Got it.
that's kind of what we would provide.
And then there were, I think all three of these artists offered multiple ways in which they could engage with the community.
Was that one of the questions that you
Yes.
had for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm trying to find what
We
he
didn't-
had there. But, it could be where we have, we can invite members of the community to help paint, that kind of thing. So there are ways that we can engage.
We didn't want to be too prescriptive with it, so
Right.
we said, what would be comfortable for you? What ideas do you have for this engagement? And so, yeah, that was what Taylor came up with.
I think it sounds interesting and fun and exciting and all great things. It also seems, I'm a little concerned that it's missing an opportunity for us to incorporate more culture because there's going to be a certain audience that's going to go to the arts festival in general. And is that really, I want to push us to involve people that might not have the opportunity to go to the arts festival.
And I agree with you, and I don't think the Arts Festival will be his only engagement opportunity. So I think this is just, since Tom's doing the Arts Festival, he's gung-ho about making sure he's there as well, which I do not disagree with. I think that's a great plan.
And are we leaving it up to him to kind of carry through with the birdhouses?
I think we would engage with him throughout that.
Okay, so,
It's not like we're gonna just say, here,
Yeah.
do this, Taylor,
At
goodbye.
the arts, yeah.
We're gonna, work with him. It's gonna be a constant communication. Sarah's gonna be involved, he's gonna be our newest best friend. He'll probably
Okay.
be coming to all of our meetings, I'm sure.
I wasn't sure if there was, I know we have this muralist agreement here in the packet. I wasn't sure if there was some other way that you guys were also tracking the work in progress.
Yeah, and I think when you see, is it Exhibit A at the very end? I think that's where we will get more into the detail of, mutual dates to be decided with the artist and with the staff liaison in partnership with the Arts and Culture Commission. So Sarah and I have already talked about it a little bit, so.
Awesome.
We'll be
So
making
here's,
some.
I found Taylor's submission here. He said he has a few ideas for engaging the community through this project, and I'm open to discussing other ideas as well. He goes at length about a workshop for the birdhouses. It would provide an opportunity to get community members out to the site, engaged in the creative process, and able to put their own self-expression on display as an extension of the public art mural project. Blah, blah, blah. Another idea would be to give an artist talk to local students interested in learning more about working as an artist or how to go about painting a mural project. There's also potential for hosting a community paint day where community members would get involved with some of the initial phases of painting the project on site as well.
Tom, remind me what the timeline was for this to be done.
End of summer. So we didn't say, I think in the contract, we put August 31st, which is kind of sort of the end of summer, but end of summer was just kind of this rough deadline.
The activity too, the more I'm sitting here thinking about this, if he's doing these lead-up teaser events, having the community involved in painting, et cetera, if he can commit to doing this birdhouse project at the arts festival, in these lead-up community events, maybe we can help spread the word about this interactive, free activity to get more people to come that maybe wouldn't have considered coming to the arts festival before.
Sure. Like, are there certain types of people you think wouldn't go to an arts festival?
Yeah, busy people.
Busy people.
Who don't understand how cool it is.
Or maybe
Okay.
people,
But I mean,
older folks who aren't on social media.
Or accessibility issues, who might not be able to walk around, or,
look,
We've
all
also
the
got
parks
the-
are pretty accessible, but I mean, I'm wondering, is there a sense that we feel that the Autumn Arts Festival is inaccessible or exclusionary to any group of people in any way?
not intentionally. And I don't know how unintentionally, I can't necessarily define that. But I do think that arts festivals in general do have some access barrier issues.
You mean it in general, like there is a type of person who would attend an arts festival, and there's some people who would say, I will never attend an arts festival.
Correct.
So that's just a matter of personal taste then, right? Because, I mean, it's free, it's fully accessible, like ADA accessible, the park is. So if there are some people that wouldn't attend, that's more of their personal taste or choice then, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to do anything purposefully or even unintentionally that would be excluding certain members of the public for any reason. And I'm trying to think of how we would be doing that. Other than if people think it's kind of like, an arts festival is just for, I don't know, rich white people or something, I don't know. But
It's
free.
not the exclusionary part of it. It's not like we're excluding people. It's it's just like the outreach. It's like the people who have never gone, they will, they don't have that sense of this would be for me, or this would be, they wouldn't even know that. So I think it's not like we're excluding them, but that they don't even know of this opportunity, or that it could be something that they could go to.
Right.
So I think it's more so
That comes
Being-
into our marketing and how we promote
Right.
the event then.
being the proactive, the outreach, right, versus the, intentionally providing.
There's that drone guy who always does the drone videos of North St. Paul. Maybe he could do some drone footage of the arts festival and we could make a little video about how cool arts festivals are.
Yeah,
and
well,
draw more
and I
people
think
in.
this is an area, now that we have Carey Erpenbach involved, this is a great area for her to consider with the marketing end of it.
I will say that videos are typically very expensive to make.
Not if I make my
It's like,
husband do it.
yeah, same.
Oh, your husband's
It's
the one
usually
that does
like
these?
1,000, oh.
Oh, no, not the drone one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they say it's like at least $1,000 per finished minute for a video typically, so just wanted to put that out there. I have a question about the installation funds. So you said we had $2,000 set aside, right?
Yep.
So just so I understand the full scope of the purpose for that money, so is there anywhere else that we're eyeing, any other areas that we're like, oh, we might want installation funds for this project?
No.
Okay.
So, and that money was, that line item in there was because we threw a bunch of ideas together for the budget a year ago. And we said, well, how about $2,000 for some kind of public art installation? Not having any idea what that might be, figuring that ideas would come up during the year. So no, that money is not earmarked for anything, and I don't know that we've had any discussion. I mean, I think, at one time with the utility boxes, we're like, let's do more of that, we can take some of that money from there, which is also still possible. Or we said, well, let's do, we need more money for murals, so we'll take some of that money from that to go to the murals, which we could do that. We can take money from different parts of our own budget to spend on other things. But we just have to decide as a group if that's what we want to do. So, yeah, short answer is no, it wasn't, it's not earmarked for anything.
Was anyone eyeing that money for any projects, just out of curiosity?
Didn't even know it was there.
Potentially utility boxes, but that's, we're not at that point yet, so.
I don't know, I think we can move fast with utility boxes.
We
though.
could.
It was a pretty fun,
Yeah.
quick thing.
How
Quick
much
in
have
our
we
world.
spent of that budget so far, of the utility box fund so far?
Put me on the spot.
I think, yeah,
I'll look. I have it in here,
I think we're supposed to have 1,400-ish left.
somewhere in that. Yeah, I'll take a look.
How much was each box?
The total we got charged from the company was $26.40.
For
That was
both
for
boxes?
both boxes and their time for adjusting the art.
And we had $4,000 in the budget for utility box wraps. So if we had art installation and we did half of that for birdhouses and gave another half to utility box wraps, we could do another 2 or 3 utility box wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have about
Timing.
$1,500 left in that budget.
Timing will start to be tight on that too. I don't know what their temperature range is
That's right.
to install, right?
Yep.
Well, we did learn from that, I know I'm jumping ahead, but we did learn from that the super hot temperatures was not good either. So they had to stop working, that's why the boxes weren't finished in one day.
Oh,
They had to stop at like 11, so sometime September, October might even be better for that, so,
Good to know.
yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's $1,000 to
so up to $1,000 for the birdhouse
up to
project
$1,000,
at the Autumn Arts Festival.
or the whole project itself.
So can we get a motion in a second and vote?
Real quick, was that a question, C?
Yeah, C brought up a good point.
Oh, is there a question? I'm sorry.
Can we make that up to $1,000 for all of his community outreach?
Not just the festival.
Yeah. So the,
Birdhouses will be at the festival.
If there's other community outreach, we're considering that part of the mural cost. I mean, if it's community outreach regarding the mural, that's included in the mural.
Okay,
okay, so this would be for the birdhouse project that's added to this.
That's correct.
Yep. Okay.
You have a motion?
I motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, see, was that you, Amanda? No, that was Stacy, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we're gonna earmark up to $1,000 from the
Or insta-
art installation line item from our budget to propose to the artist for the birdhouse project. Great. So that's the mural update. Utility boxes, any update here?
They were installed.
Yeah, did
Yeah.
y'all see them?
Yeah.
They're gorgeous. I made my son take a picture when we were at the other one, the heart one.
They turned out fantastic, great quality. I think they're great.
I didn't see the big one. I saw the pictures, including your kid. That's cute.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the full wrap, so I should stop by sometime. But I saw the yellow one. Amazing. That really popped out.
the heart one has one of the sides, there's something on the box where there's like a void.
Yeah, what is that?
So-
It's like a credit card or something.
I was just gonna say, it looks like a credit card every time I drive by it, because it looks like a mag strip, and then there's like an out,
It looks like a handle.
It's a handle, yeah.
yeah. It's just,
It's
I see
funny.
a credit card every time I
The
pass
one's
by
like
it.
right in the middle of the heart,
Yeah,
the other side's not, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We should
or
write
some
touch
sort of
me
like
or something,
spout or
you know?
something.
So So you said it's good quality?
Very good quality, yes.
So what is the status on the Roddy's one then? Are they still trying to decide, or?
I can speak about that.
And then how much we've spent so far, that doesn't include that one?
No.
Yeah, okay.
They were not responding to our emails with the images that we sent. And we could not get a hold of them. I stopped in there, she wasn't in there. I'm not sure if any commission members were able to stop in there. As soon as we sent the email that we're going to wait until the next phase, they wrote back, okay, that's fine. So we've gotten the feeling that they didn't like the images we provided, and maybe we need to go back to the drawing board, or maybe go with them to the Historical Society, pick out some images, and go from there. But that's still on hold right now.
Okay, yeah, or we could we also not just choose something ourselves? I mean,
We've made a good effort.
yeah, I think we've made a good faith effort for sure. And if they don't want to choose, that's fine.
Right.
I mean, the bookstore didn't choose the book thing.
Right.
And we wanted to have Roddy's involved because it's right outside their business, but,
Our city manager feels pretty strongly about that too, that they have an opinion on it because they were not happy with the box
having the
installation.
electrical boxes there.
Yes. So I think if we give it one more try with them,
Okay.
and kind of maybe if we stop in there, speak to them again and go from there. But after that, I think we're okay to move forward on our own.
One thing I learned too that might be fun for Roddy's, that I didn't know this before we got these installed, was we can technically put a different picture on each side. And so it doesn't have to be repetitive imagery like
Right.
we ended up with this current round one.
I'd love to see that.
And as long as it's open domain, Roddy's can and is welcomed to submit any image they want to submit.
I think
So-
that one especially would be great if it were all different pictures all the way around.
Correct.
It's more to look at.
So when we went and spoke with the owners, they have that big piece of art inside of Roddy's. When you walk in on the left, it's of like,
It was originally hung in Max Steiner.
right, and they got it when Max closed.
Yeah.
And they were saying they wanted something like that. But like we were like, well, we don't know how to capture this giant piece of art. I mean, if we were serious about it and we all liked that piece, maybe we could get a photo of it and pay a graphic designer a few $100s to like adjust it. I don't know. That's a thought.
Or pay a graphic designer to jazz it up and make it like bring the historical into the modern. Add funky tones to it, do something to make it stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think it was really faded, so they could just kind of like retouch it even, and it would still be something nice to look at. But they just didn't have like a physical copy of that or anything like that. So somebody would have to put some time into it.
Was it a painting or a photograph or?
Photo
Yeah, really big photo.
of,
So can the utility box team maybe take another shot at Roddy's, and then maybe, do you want to look for another location too that could be,
yeah.
if not Roddy's, or in addition to Roddy's?
I would say I would wait for Roddy's for next year, I would say.
Okay.
And I would say we should focus on other utility boxes, like with the remainder fund. And, like we won't carry out phase 2, which was like the community engagement part. We might do something more like, either something quick like we did before, or something more like, within the committee that would then also incorporate arts and culture aspect to it too. So, and maybe, because we do still have utility boxes that, aren't as main street, like Roddy's, that we could work on, like that aren't as like high stakes that it needs to be a certain thing. And yeah, so I would, so I think that is what I would propose to our committee for our next meeting that we'll be having.
Great. Okay, should we move on? Art cart? Lisa's not here. Amanda, do you have anything on this one?
The next event will also be rock painting, July 20th. for
Rock
music in the
painting's
parks.
a hit, huh?
Sure is.
It was at, Carey and I were at the city night at the car show. There were a lot of people.
People love their rocks.
And I don't remember how many we kept for the parks, but that was the plan, is to get these painted rocks into the
Yeah.
parks.
I think a lot of kids just wanted to keep them.
Yeah, I understand.
But it was a good event. There were a lot of people.
Is there a plan for the rocks in the park?
Our plan was to just put them amongst the landscaping.
Okay. Okay,
Not a special display or anything like that, just,
okay. And then when they wash, because it's gonna wash off. When they wash off, it's fine. Okay,
I think she's got a clear coat to go on top to
Okay.
protect it.
okay.
And if they walk away, they walk away.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
The only thing I had on the art cart was Lisa had submitted on behalf of the subcommittee some proposed expenditures for the art cart. And so since it's spending money, we do need to vote on that, make sure we're okay with that. I did include that in the packet, so I listed out everything that she had proposed between her and Amanda working on that. So if we could get a vote on that tonight, if we're okay with spending the money on these projects, or if we need clarification on what they're gonna be used for, we can talk about that too.
Works for me.
What is the 12-inch paper cutter? Is it like a thingy where you like, kind of like,
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's cheap. I move that we spend this money.
Second. All right, so we have a motion and a second to accept the proposed expenditures for the art cart as listed in our packet. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving forward on that.
Real quick, where, on the 20th, where will the art cart be?
Casey.
Okay.
So the music in the parks are always at Casey, right?
Okay.
Yes, and that one in particular is a kids themed, so the Bazillions are gonna be there. And they're gonna have some more kid-friendly food trucks there as well. So hopefully this is well attended for us, yeah.
Good. Maybe the August event could be more birdhouses. I don't know, just an idea.
Could be. Or little birds.
Or little tiny birds.
oh, little wooden birds would be so cute.
Yeah.
What?
Felted
Little
birds.
wooden birds.
Yeah. All right, paint and sip. Carrie, do you have
Oh,
anything
yeah,
on
I
that?
do have, Lisa wanted me to check with you, Sarah, on 3 dates, August 10th, August 21st, and August 22nd. And if one of those would be open at KC, then she will host a paint and sip one of those nights.
I'll let you know in about a minute.
Cool. Thank you.
Anything else on paint and sip? Okay. Autumn Arts Festival. Amanda, do you want to speak to this one? Or I have some things as well.
I was just gonna mention a few things and then you can take it on, but we met and have figured out kind of a layout that is going to work for the event, which means we will not need to purchase or rent a stage and tent for the band. We are actually moving the artist to the other side so that the band can stay where it was last year, and the artist will be along the walking path that are on that side as well, kind of by the volleyball courts. Food trucks are gonna move into the street, so now we have cleared up the actual parking lot to be used for parking.
they're going to the street? Are we blocking the street?
No, there's like a parking side to the street.
There's parallel parking on 17th.
But then they'll be open to the sidewalk right
Yep.
in front of the park.
People, you only see people park there when there's like a baseball game
Yeah.
or a grad party.
Okay.
We are going to, what else was I gonna say? The art cart that is going to be at the Arts Festival, I am wrapping all 3 of my projects into one. Having the art cart at the Arts Festival, and the art cart project will be to color a snowman. And so I just traced our North St. Paul logo that I think we'll use, and then the plan is to use these to cover the walls of City Hall.
I love that. Can you
awesome.
send me a copy of that?
Yeah, I just did it before coming here.
Getting everybody jazzed up for Project Snowy.
Exactly.
Good outreach.
Yeah, so.
That's my update, sorry.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, I would just say, so we were we were trying to pitch it to the council to get some more money in the event fund to do some bigger things, but it looked like that money wasn't gonna materialize, so we went ahead with a plan based on the little bit of money that we have. And so, you know, we went down to the site, there was 4 of us, Amanda and I and 2 people from the Parks Commission, looked around, and I think the layout is gonna be much nicer. It'll be, the trouble with Casey is that the most central feature to the park is the parking lot. So if you want to have, if you want to hold the center of attention, where I think like you'd want to have, you know, bands or performers, for example, you would have to be in the parking lot. But we had this wild idea this year that we would use the parking lot for people to park their cars. And because, I mean, there's not a whole lot of parking around there. Anyway, the parking lot's not that big, and then when we close that off, it just makes it harder for people to come. So, by moving all of the artists out in front, I think one thing that's great is it adds this visibility. Anybody driving down 17th will see it. And then we'll have the performers in the same place as last year at that open, covered end of the building. And that way they're performing right out in the direction of where everyone's milling around at the playground or the art cart or the artisans. So it's kind of tighter in one end, and then we have we'd have the food trucks like we set out on the street. But then like in the inside of the building or somewhere around there, this is where we could do the birdhouse stuff and that kind of thing. If we have other artist demonstrations, I don't know.
I forgot to mention, we do have 18 booths secured right now, well, accepted right now, and we are still accepting applications through the end of the month.
So 13 applicants have paid and are all good to go. And then we have 5 new ones already that are waiting
Okay.
so far.
So we've had 5 new come in. So, okay, great, that's great. Good,
Yep.
good.
Is there a drawn or sketched layout that you guys were thinking that we could?
I'm working
emailed?
with, Carey had suggested using One Plan events.
Oh, yes.
I do have one I'm working on through there, and so I can send that to you.
That'd be great, thank you.
As far as performers so far, I don't know if anyone has access. So Dellen Hansen is the 622 person. But her husband works at Two Rivers and has the same group. And I've tried to contact Dellen, can't get any response. And I don't remember what her husband's name was, if it maybe is a chance to reach out. Do you have a contact, Carey?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. But Inspiration Dance, CC Goracki.
Yeah.
Are you gonna dance?
Yes,
You're gonna perform?
I think. Usually our director will like pick different dances.
Okay. Well, I hope she
better pick
picks you. I mean, otherwise, I don't know.
We might have to drop.
Probably.
Yeah. We're not trying to influence Inspiration Dance in any way, but you better have CC in there. No, so, but they're locked in, so that's good. So we'll have a dance group there. I've reached out to also the North High Bands. There's a folk music couple that originated in North St. Paul. They're interested. And then we have Empty Pockets on the line again for the main band. So, Sarah, that was the thing I wanted to reach out to you. What kind of contract or paperwork do we need to send to them?
Yep, there's an artist agreement. And I
Okay.
can if we have contact info for them, I can send it over to them and.
Great, I'll send that to you.
Sure.
Or I can give it to you somehow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I have the contact information, and we're agreed at $500, which was the same thing that they were paid last year.
Okay.
So, but that comes out of the events budget.
And is there a time that they're performing?
So we'd be looking at between 4 and 6 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
Tom, I also went into Hang Time Board Shop, and the whole basement is fingerboards. So
What
we
is
should-
that? What's a fingerboard?
I like tech-
Isn't that cool?
It's like a
Say it
mini
again.
Yeah.
skateboard.
Yeah, it's the same as Tech
Who's gonna
Deck.
explain it?
Oh, I really don't know. It's like you use your fingers. It's like
It's like
mini
a little tiny
skateboards,
mini
like tech
skateboard.
deck.
And they have like little like skate parks
Yeah.
for
It'd
the
be like
mini
tricks.
skateboards.
It's really cool. So the first, we walk in and there's like shoes and apparel. Upstairs are the boards, and then downstairs is just, all these kids have come together and built a city where they can do their
Really?
competitions. And so I'm like, wouldn't that be fun to have the kids come
Yeah.
and do their tech decking, or whatever it is, fingerboarding.
My
I
daughter
don't know
got
what it's
to
called.
cut
Tech
the
Deck is
ribbon
the
for them.
brand, right?
Oh, is it? Oh, see,
Maybe
you
it
know
is.
about
It was very
I
unexpected.
used to collect them when I was a kid.
Okay.
Wasn't good at it, though.
Suppose you're much less likely to be injured
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
if you're just doing this.
Little carpal tunnel, maybe.
You'll be,
Yeah, at
Sprain a
the
finger.
car show, they have one of their little skate parks out in front, and they were inviting people to come.
Oh, really?
Yep, do the little
perfect.
boards. Yeah, thrilling.
See, they should be at the arts festival. That's culture.
So far, all we've got locked down are the band and Inspiration Dance. So if anybody's got any other thoughts or ideas, please let me know.
I haven't looked. Is there something on the website, a call for these folks on the website, or?
Not for the performers, for the artists there is, though.
Artist? Or you, or the vendors?
Yeah.
Makers.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said the performers would be between 4 and 6 p.m.?
Just the band, and so the whole thing is from 11 to 6, so anytime between 11 and 4, we would have. These other performers we're looking for 20 to 30 minutes of performance time. And so if we can have, like last year, I think, we had 4 or 5 different performing groups, each one taking about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we wrap up with the band that performs for, I don't know, over an hour.
So it'll be under the same area that we had last year, so it'd be the concrete
Yeah.
where they'd be performing. Will there be seating?
Yes, so that was another thing we talked about, is actually adding some seating over there so it looks like this is a place where something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big slope, but I think we can get some chairs in there.
And at like 20 to 30 minutes each, it's kind of like people may want to sit down to watch.
Oh, exactly, right, yeah, yep. So I think we're gonna make sure
We-
that we have chairs available.
Are we open to more bands or music as well throughout the day? Or do we want to keep
Yeah, I
that
think
to
so. Like I said, there's this folk music couple that may play, and I think we are able to offer $150 to each of those, just kind of like a stipend. And
Okay,
it's not much, but I think that's what we agreed on, but we could have up to 4 at $150. But I haven't been telling that to anybody so far because we weren't sure what would be approved or not.
right.
But I think we do have that money from the event budget.
So if we are doing 4 performers throughout the day at 30 minutes, let's say, before 4 o'clock, that leaves a lot of empty space, doesn't it, throughout the day?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be nonstop,
Right.
yeah. Because like last time, I don't think we even started the first performer until an hour or 2 into the start of the festival. Waited to get some people there and that kind of thing. So like, we wouldn't want to start right at 11 or.
Sure.
And I think we can just kind of play it by ear based on what we get and what people are, how much time do they want? How much time do we have? What is it going to take? What does it take to get people in and out? Everything like that.
Have you asked the Fusion Drumline from North?
So does Hammerman own that one too? Do you know?
No, that's Poloni.
Somebody else? Okay. So then, no. I reached out to Aaron Hammerman and said, if there's any of your band groups, I thought the drumline was part of his thing, but,
I can give you that info.
okay. But yeah, anything else, let me know. So we got a couple months yet. A couple months. This thing was like forever away before, and now it's August, September.
Well, North has a couple like cultural dance groups, but I don't know if they would fill 20-minute
But maybe all together they could?
possibly.
Yeah.
They
That'd be
just-
good.
Yeah. they put
Know
on
anybody?
some of our School stuff.
Do you know anybody at North?
Yes.
All right, anyway, so that's the updates. That's the update on Autumn Arts Festival. All right, so now I think that gets us on to the next step of our agenda. Culture in ACC Projects. Anybody want to take the lead on this one? How do we want to frame this up?
Can we maybe have, I know it's not in the minutes, but if anyone wants to recap things that they remembered from last meeting that struck a chord, maybe things we had partially discussed?
I can take a stab, and then people can fill in as desired. So the conversation came up because we were looking for, because we were working on our budget for next year, and one of the questions was, did we want to do some more focused on culture? Because we do a lot on art, but is there more, something that we wanted to focus more on regarding culture? And so part of that conversation then stemmed off into, like with culture, like we as a commission aren't representative of the full North St. Paul community, right? And so did we also, are there opportunities for us to do more engagement with the community, with the different, ethnic communities or different groups, protected groups within North St. Paul to get feedback regarding arts and culture, things that we could do here. And so, like part of the talk was like, how would that look like? And then also another thing came up about like, does this fit within our purview about like arts and culture, what exactly is culture within our Arts and Culture Commission? And then also it stemmed into, like the opportunity to do more engagement with the community at large, just in general, not just like arts focused. Like there's a big opportunity to do more in like involving them with, like feedback on, even things like Parks and Rec or like, like the police or whatever else, right? There's lots of opportunities there to engage them and get feedback so that we can do community building. Yeah, I think, anybody else want to provide input?
So one thing I looked into since our last meeting was, what do other places do? Not just cities, but what could I find that was out there? And one thing I found was there is a international holiday called World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. It's in May, and I just thought that putting that event on the calendar might be a good opportunity for the city, not necessarily just for our commission, but for the city to kind of get input from the community. I don't know what that would look like, but I would kind of send that on to the council, I believe.
Yeah, I think input is really wonderful. We can get it. I think it's just going to be kind of very much a balancing act. I'll say that there are often times where people of color, the cultural groups, or other cultural groups most of us are already over-surveyed, but then, some folks are even more surveyed. But yeah, I think if it can be like a very authentic, like really fun event, I think it can go really well.
I think there are, I was doing a little thinking about this as well today. And I think there are maybe 3 things, if I remember them, that we should maybe connect on as a group, discuss about. One is, what exactly does culture mean to us as a group? I think last time it was revealing to me that I think different people have different interpretations of what culture means within our Arts and Culture Commission. Is it a subset of art, or is it is it a standalone thing, right? And then also, secondly, I think we would want to discuss, like what, like what kind of community engagement, like what kind of work would that be? I think Emily and I talked about a little bit about this, where it's like, like, yes, you do want to do, community engagement, but then you also want to be careful about how you do it as well. So,
Yeah, because we don't want to be in the position of like taking from people, taking their time, taking their energy, and then not producing any results from it. So if we're going to create space to hear people, I feel like we need to be ready to kind of act on the results of that, just out of respect for people giving their time and energy and thoughts and putting themselves out there.
yeah, and I can agree with that. And then there's, so, like thinking about it a little bit more though too, like, I haven't been here in North St. Paul too long, but in the time that I have been here, I don't think there has been any sort of like community engagement towards like, at least like in a sense of like cultural or other ethnic groups. And so, like, I think even doing something though could be good feedback just to kind of get started, just to kind of like get us going. So that's another thought. But, like understanding that the city doesn't have dedicated staff towards, towards that work as well, so.
And I think one of the things that we talked about was that it's hard for us to even make assumptions about who we're reaching and who we're not reaching and who is a part of the community without like some numbers behind it. So I don't know, I think last time we talked about this, we didn't know if there was good information to pull from, I guess, other than like census information.
Yeah, I think there's some information that maybe Carey has on the website to see how many people have signed up. Is that kind of like, or who has signed up as well?
Or who, I think we're thinking more of like who hasn't signed up.
Right, who hasn't,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's a big need, I would say, and something they've been trying to work on and trying to get some other languages on there, but it seems that no one, to my knowledge, has chosen another language for their newsletter. But yes, we don't have a dedicated staff that has a diversity, equity, or inclusivity kind of lens to kind of apply that, however.
Did you intend on saying the word yet after that statement? Or is that even being considered? Like,
There is no conversation of that.
Could we propose that the commission discuss that?
You are welcome to.
I'm trying to think too, so I'm going to look at Carey and Stacy here for the original members when we first started, but also to you, Lisa, because you were instrumental in getting the word culture added to the name of this commission. So I'm trying to think about what our original discussions were as a commission of like, why did we include the word commission? Or culture, sorry.
because it's important. I'm pretty sure that's what the
Yeah,
final.
I think a lot of the points where what, C had already referenced is there's no representation in city programming or city government that reflects the community. There's not a whole lot of parity. Sometimes people look at parity, like population, like 10% of this like group. That's not reflected in our government. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity to engage folks. I think there's a need for it.
So could we make that clarification today on exactly what arts and culture stands for our commission? Just so that everybody is on the same page, so that we know also like our work going forward, what we would want to do. Not saying like we can't do one or the other, because we got both arts and culture within it, but, like, did we mean for culture to be like a really small subset of our actual work of art? Or do they both stand alone? And,
I think it's important to, we had some leadership at the City Watch our last meeting as well. And they wanted to just make sure too that we really focus on the scope of what this commission is here for too. And so I have pulled up here kind of what we're here for. And it does say to promote and increase the city's artistic and cultural assets by encouraging and participating in the selection and interpretation of public artwork and public art events. So in reading that, we really are to be focusing on culture in our public art, the events that we put on. When we're discussing like bigger issues like the DEI representative with the city, it's not really the scope of our commission, so that conversation should probably happen away from the commission, more focused towards council, mayor. Our city manager also expressed that he would be welcome to hear from that as well. But I do think it's important to remember the scope of the commission too.
And I can understand that about the scope, but I also don't necessarily agree that involving DEI, should not be included, because I think, like, talking to them within, like, our scope, about our work, I think it's important.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what Tom was kind of saying last meeting too, was that we can do a better job of including different cultures in the projects that we're doing and future projects, future events that we can plan that are surrounded with art as well, including art. We can combine both. I think Tom did a great job with that last meeting.
I'm a little bit confused because I'm hearing one thing, from the description.
Sure.
But I'm also hearing you, Lisa, saying that the original conversation did talk about things, about like representation. And so I just feel like, it sounds like, from what I'm understanding, like maybe those conversations like didn't completely translate into the description. Do you think that's correct?
It could be, it's not being interpreted as such.
Okay.
I do think that this description, as Sara just read, though, what you're discussing, Emily, is umbrellaed underneath what that description is, to a certain extent. Like, I think where we have an opportunity to get more support from the city, maybe, or from someone, is identifying what we don't know about the programming and the events we've already offered, what we're, like, those huge gaps that we're missing. So that the next events we look to plan have different cultural focuses with our events.
Right.
And I don't know if Carey's a good resource for that, or if I think that's where we're struggling, is we don't really know who the right resource is to paint an honest picture of what might be missing.
Right. I don't know who that,
We don't have
Yeah.
anyone.
It's a good question. So, like, kind of putting this example out there. So, like, if we were to have an event and we were to do, like, I guess, like, would this not be considered under our purview? Say, like, if we were to do an event and, like, make it food-based and invite, like, food trucks of, like Mexican or, like, Latino-based food trucks, like, and have that type of event, would that then not be considered under our purview?
food is art,
Is,
I think. I mean, even if you went as far as having food-making classes of some sort, or if we could even do that, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think that's art.
I love the idea of, because food is culture to me.
Food is culture.
Food is
Totally.
And the idea of having like a food night where you can get food from multiple different cultures, I'm there. I'm eating everything. I don't care what you call it. I'm going to eat it.
We also have a licensed kitchen in the community center.
newly licensed kitchen?
So I think maybe the homework for this commission is to think more about this. So there's a feeling that there's a gap right now in the culture part of our commission in the work that we're doing thus far. So what would it look like to close that gap? So if you were to look at this commission a year from now, you could say, now they've really got the culture part because they blank. They did what?
And I think that was, sorry, did I?
No, go ahead.
And I think that was one of the discussions from last time, which was, you know, like, we ourselves aren't representative of the people of North St. Paul. So, you know, like, maybe it does involve a level of, like, engaging and getting that feedback from the community so that we can better close that gap, so that it's not like us making the decisions for them, but, you know, like, involving the whole community to make that, you know, like, help us with that, give
Yeah.
us that information.
I agree, and I personally see that we could kind of apply that on a project by project basis, right? Like, we could look at every single project that we're doing, and I'm not saying like, I don't think a standalone food event is I think that's awesome, but I don't think that's like the bigger picture of what we're talking about here. I could see us like thinking about how to apply this on, you know, individual levels for projects, like, okay, art cart. Maybe, okay, we look at, if all we have to work off of is like census information or school, you know, enrollment information, maybe, like, we can look at like, oh, there's a significant population of, let's say, like, Hmong people or Latino people. Maybe we hire a Hmong artist to lead the art cart or, you know, one night, or just thinking about how on a smaller level we could incorporate culture into the projects that we have going, I think could be meaningful.
So, yeah, and in that example is using, you know, it's artistic expression of a different culture, right? And so, because in my recollection, when we first started the commission, that was really the goal, was to include artistic expression of the cultural diversity that exists in North St. Paul. You know, so how do we go about doing that? I think that's a great example, you know, of it's an artistic expression. And I think, you know, if we can get more money, you know, Carey is applying for a grant right now for our art cart. If we could do that, and then we can pay artists to lead events at our art cart, or we can pay artists to lead events at, you know, the Casey Park Shelter or whatever. There's a great opportunity. So there's a visual representation of what that could look like.
And see, you said something at the start of this conversation that really hit me. That you got the understanding that some people see art and culture as separate things. And you know what? I don't think I do, because I think through our support of the arts and through bringing art to North St. Paul, or, you know, lifting off the veil of North St. Paul and showing what art can look like through murals and through the art cart and through Snowies and everything else that we're working towards. I mean, that kind of is a piece of our culture, you know? And like Tom said, what would closing that gap look like? I mean, I think showing that artistic expression from whoever you are really is bringing that culture to the fore. I mean, we don't have the carillon bells of Belgium, and we don't have the floating lightning things in Japan. I mean, what is our culture of North St. Paul?
I think that's the biggest question, though. That's what we're trying to answer.
And we're not, I mean, we have to have conversations, and we're not gonna do it until we start having these arts events and start bringing people together and doing surveys and finding out what people think the culture of North St. Paul is. I mean, I don't feel qualified to say what it is.
I agree, but what are you defining as culture, I think, is what C was getting at. And to me, culture is a mixture of your heritage, your religion, your ethnicity. And there is a culture of North St. Paul history, but we can't just focus on North St. Paul history as our only culture. We need to include the other cultures that are within the community, people who haven't lived here their whole lives. Sorry, Tom, I don't mean to.
No, I think it's focusing on North St. Paul present, not the history. But, you know, where are we right now?
I just didn't mean to call you out as someone who's lived here your whole life.
And I didn't. I was gone for some years. I just came back.
I personally would love to see it being a requirement, some sort of requirement for each of our projects to do some due diligence on viewing these projects through a cultural lens. And I don't know exactly what that looks like, but an expectation set out with each project to do some work around that and thinking or surveying or whatever is involved. Yeah.
So think on that, Emily, and bring something back next month. So, not to, I think, I hear what you're saying, but view each project through a cultural lens, so how would we apply that? A checklist? Is that
Starting
a
point, yeah, would be a
checklist of
good
what?
start.
So what's on the checklist? You know, what is,
Yeah.
so it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
And are we just checking the list?
Well,
right.
I don't think anyone here is looking at it that way, right? Like, I think we're all taking this seriously. And yeah, checklist unfortunately has like a negative connotation, but I don't think that's what we're talking about. I think we're talking about a list of requirements to make sure that we're thinking about this from different angles. I hate to do this, but I wonder if there should be a subcommittee to kind of like brainstorm through some of these things and put together some ideas. What do you think? People think? Do you think that's a bad idea or a good idea?
No, I don't at all.
And I'm, of course, volunteering to be on it by putting that out
As
there.
as soon as you bring something up
Yes.
in a volunteer environment, you are
Yes,
volunteer. Yeah.
100%.
That'd be great, Emily.
To step somewhat sort of sideways, I had looked at past meeting minutes, trying to figure out the origin of the culture part of the commission, and there are some meeting minutes from one of the first meetings that you did discuss culture and what that meant for the commission, and I just encourage everyone to read through that.
Good research. When did we do it? What day?
I just sent it to Sarah. It was
good.
October 6th of 2021.
Wow.
Oh, wow, 2021.
Yeah, we had a lot of deep conversations in the beginning.
No, wait, I'm sorry, that wasn't even it. It was the September 15th one.
Okay.
But yeah. And the notes on it are extensive, so.
Yeah, that was Lisa Ritchie. She took very extensive minutes.
Could I ask, Sarah, you mentioned city, members of the city had a chance to review the last meeting. Did they have other thoughts or feedback?
It was, I mean, I think they all are supportive of the idea of DEI and including more culture in what we do here in North St. Paul. But they just encourage that if there's bigger ideas, that they go to more of like the council, going there and speaking in front of them with some talking points as well.
And would it behoove anybody to do so?
It always behooves the community to go to council and speak if there are concerns from the citizens. The council, that's the mechanism for the council to get those concerns. I think it's important to continue these discussions even when leaders might think they're out of scope, because they're actually within scope of what we're doing here. And it's, obviously, we can escalate to a certain extent through Councilmember Wong that we've got concerns and we're a panel of, I don't know anyone who says they're not concerned about it here. So it's, and that's it. And I don't think, it's probably easy to tune in and watch us and think our expectations might be misaligned or we could be out of scope, but I think it's within scope. It's just the energies have to be directed differently.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it would be helpful if, yeah, I didn't hear about that, so I couldn't really contribute there, but I think it's really essential for us to really consider that, because we aren't doing our job as a city if we aren't considering everyone. We're a public entity, that is our role. is to serve everyone in this community. I lost my train of thought, so I'll stop.
Sarah, do we have somewhere like census data on the cultures that we represent?
I can certainly pull it. We don't have it saved anywhere or anything, so I'd have to do research, but I can certainly do that.
ACS.
And, you know, I'd be curious, and I don't want to put her on the spot, but I'd be curious on our other member, non-voting member on the end here, on if she had any thoughts about it.
Like on what cultures and like.
Culture, yeah.
Well, I was looking it up. We obviously talk about it a lot at school, but it says specifically it's the customs, art, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation or people or group versus like ethnicity or things like that. So more specifically, like making a culture of North St. Paul other than focusing on the diversity and just, using the diversity, but making it into a culture that for North St. Paul. And obviously art is a big thing in that.
Do you think that the city of North St. Paul should be doing more with promoting culture?
Yeah.
And recognizing culture of citizens?
Yes.
Maybe having a diversity
Yeah.
staff person?
Yes. We don't have.
We
Is
don't
that
have
what?
one.
Okay.
Does North?
We should.
You probably should, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Many.
More than
More than one.
So, yeah, I guess it would be helpful to understand what the parameters and guidelines are for recommending it forward.
I think we're hitting it out of the park with like visual arts too. Right now, we've got the utility boxes that have been installed. We have Project Snowy in the works, the art cart, a beautiful mural in the works as well. Maybe we can focus our energy for 2024 to try and incorporate more of a cultural event, be it a performing art, culinary art, something like the food idea. Even something involving skateboarding, that's a huge culture that boated a 3-story shop on 7th. So, I don't know. It doesn't solve our problem today, but it does give us something to focus on and focus our energies on in the near future.
Any other thoughts? So I would also say, you know, just to echo what you're saying there, Stacy, this is a young commission. You know, we haven't been around that long, and we're just hitting our stride. And, you know, because we haven't done some things yet doesn't mean it's wrong. I think we're learning and growing, and we'll keep trying to do more and do better. But, you know, there are years to come. So that's, I guess, that's the one thing I'd ask of everyone on the commission is to think about that. And Emily, if you want to put together that subgroup, I don't know if anyone else wants to volunteer for that, and maybe have a couple of meetings before our next meeting or something like that. And let's check back in on this every time we meet and talk about, you know, how do we close that gap? We don't feel like we're there now. What would make us feel like we were there? And if it starts with, you know, getting feedback from people, okay, then we start there. And then what? And then what? You know, so it's hard. I know it's hard. I mean, I worked with a DEI group at my job, and you know, their mission was to create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment at our place of work. And so then we started talking about, okay, well, let's you know, solve this problem. Let's get some data around it. You know, so are we not a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment right now? And they said, no. And I said, well, what would make us be that? So if we're not now, how do we know? And if we will be in the future, how will we know when that happens? So if we're not expressing culture right now, how do we know? What are we not doing? And if we're going to be expressing culture in the future, is it something that, like, we'll just know when we see it? Or are there specifics that we can point to that says, yep, that's the kind of thing? So Amanda, I appreciate your work, looking at what other people are doing and, even digging into our history of our own minutes for this group, which is good. Now I'm really feeling like I gotta be careful about what I'm saying. Don't swear. So I would just ask everybody to think about that, and we'll just keep the conversation going. So each month we meet, we can talk about it, and we'll see, we don't need to beat ourselves up about it. Let's just figure out what we can do to be better. Sound okay?
Does anyone want to be a part of a subgroup? I'll wait all night.
Yeah, I will.
Great. So we could take at least one more person
I'm happy to.
be on that. See, we don't have to commit right now, but if we just can't have more than 3. All right, move on. Old business. I don't think we have any old business, so reports from staff. So Sara, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I've got a couple things.
Okay.
First thing I wanted to mention, I know we just talked about surveys and reaching out to people and accessibility and those types of issues. However, Carey has worked wonderfully with Carey Erpenbach and myself to put together a survey that we are going to run through the end of the year. We're going to have physical copies at North St. Paul, at City Hall, and we can bring them to the art cart. We can do all of that. And then we're going to have it online as well. Asking generic questions about what a person has participated in with the Arts and Culture Commission, what worked well, what didn't work well, what you would like to see. Pretty generic questions, but hopefully we can capture a large audience having it open through the end of the year. So that's exciting, and we plan to publish that tomorrow, actually. So look for that, and then we'll get some copies and start promoting the heck out of the survey. So that was exciting. Also with Carey and Tom's help, we did submit for a grant for the art cart. We will not hear from that, it looks like, for a little while, probably until early next year, but very exciting opportunity. So we all got to keep our fingers crossed that we can do that, and we can hire some artists and really grow the name of the art cart.
That credit goes to Carey.
Which,
Minnesota State Arts Board.
Cool.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up, we're going to have a busy week this week with the art festival the week of the 16th, but as you all may have heard, the parade is back on, and it is going to be the 14th, so the Thursday before the arts festival. There has
You're running it, Lisa.
Yep, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
There has been a proposal from the staff liaison of the Parks Commission and myself. I know that we have walked in it in the past, and walking together as commissions for the city of North St. Paul. I think that would be a great opportunity to promote everything we're doing, everything they're doing, and our arts festival. So I wanted to hear what your thoughts were, if anybody knows now if they could or couldn't attend, just so I can kind of get an idea what you think that might look like. We can start planning it on our end then.
Wow.
Just with parks or with all the city commissions?
It would be, we would offer it with everybody,
That makes sense.
but yeah.
What? We need to show up if we're going to do a parade as the Arts and Culture Commission. We need to do a show of arts or something.
We have these really cool shirts that we can wear.
We need to take it a step up though. Come on.
Have a big easel on a truck,
Yes.
live painting it.
I love it.
And I know you guys had snowy last year for that, so I don't know if we want to do the same thing.
We could bring that back.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to do the same thing or do something a little bit different. We have a little bit of time to think about it. We can talk about it next meeting too, but I wanted to put that bug in your
Yeah,
ears.
sounds great.
Do it.
Perfect.
I was surprised how many people were at that parade last year.
The whole town.
Yeah, big.
Just
Yeah.
have a trailer with faux grass and a park bench for the Parks Board, and then snowy on there.
Yeah. I think, though, that great opportunity, if we can get little handouts about the Arts Festival, be great.
Yeah.
QR codes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stickers? Do we still have stickers?
Did we get stickers?
Yeah, they were in the art cart
Oh,
before.
really?
Really?
Yeah.
What do they look like? Oh,
Weren't
the
they-
Snowies? Is that what they were?
Didn't we have stickers? Does anyone
I think
remember
they
those? I'm
were
pretty sure I-
business cards. They were like business card type things.
I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
we had
business
stickers.
cards.
Okay.
Yes, but stickers are a great idea.
What if the QR code entered into some sort of like prize drawing that happens at the Arts Festival? You have to be
In a birdhouse.
present, I don't know. Something, so that it's engaging at the parade, but then it draws them. I don't like the idea of paper handouts because it's litter. Like,
Yeah.
kids are less responsible than I think we want them to be with stuff like that, and
Do we want candy?
Yes.
Okay. I think so too, but just wanted to.
If
throw
our
out,
kids
like,
are at a parade
glass or-
and somebody's going by and there's no candy,
Not cool.
not cool. Yeah, I don't care.
well,
what
you have to do something entertaining. It's either candy or you're like blowing flames, like doing something cool.
You know, I was at a parade and there were a lot of bubble guns.
Ooh, I love
Maybe we could throw out all those toilet paper rolls that's,
that. Throw them out like to the people.
make a craft out of that.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great idea. Come to the Arts Festival. Here's your.
Make something out of this, yeah.
And then you win a prize for the best designed toilet paper roll.
But I also don't mind that, what Stacy just said, you know, like, especially if it's like, oh, you know, like, fill this out for, I don't know, some sort of incentive. And then like, you know, it could be the survey that you guys did. Like,
Yeah.
fill out this short survey and like, be entered for XYZ, or here's your incentive. I don't know. Just a thought.
Do all of the arts T-shirts have volunteer on the back?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there other North St. Paul swag that's laying around?
And take a look.
There might be some light bulbs somewhere.
Oh, there are definitely those.
Yeah.
I know like the Environmental Commission that was
Oh, yeah,
on it's on hiatus now. They have water bottles still.
really?
Does it say Environmental Commission on it?
Yup.
But I think that is all I have for now.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. So everyone circled September 14th on your calendar, as well as September 16th. Reports from commissioners. We'll start down this end. Cece, do you have anything?
No.
I just saw the important dates come up from the principal. School's starting, Target's stocking up with back-to-school stuff.
Yep,
It's a bummer how fast it comes, isn't it?
I know. I'm starting like Century, so it starts even sooner, so.
Really?
Wow.
August 21st.
Wow.
So you're are there some of those advanced classes you're taking at Century, or what are you doing? Oh, good.
Yeah.
What are you taking?
Calculus, composition, and U.S. history.
Oh my
Good
God.
on ya.
I might have get a picture taken with you now. When you're
Yes.
president of the United States, I'll be able to say,
You should
Sheesh.
wear your Arts and Culture Commission T-shirt on the first day of school. Just a thought, throwing it out there.
I like it.
Carey?
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Emily?
Nor do I.
See?
I'm not going to steal Lisa's thunder if this is what Lisa's going to talk about, but my question is, I got an email about a commission tour and was wondering if that is still happening, because I think I replied, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, so my coworker Chris is the one coordinating that, so I don't have a lot of information on that. He is waiting to hear from some department heads, and then he'll be emailing out to kind of set that up, but it is still moving forward, so.
Okay. Some other thoughts in my mind was just, so like for the paint and sip, I think I had mentioned that I was going to kind of like just kind of put a bug in the Facebook group of, it's like the Minnesota Artist Collective, just to see, like, are there teachers out there who would lead these kind of events? And there was some interest, but I didn't respond to them, so I didn't get full information. But like there are, and then there are, I think, like, for instance, one of them was saying, like, if we provided the location, I think it was like $20 per person is what they'd be asking. Yeah, so, but I haven't checked on the other people, but that's one of the responses I saw. So just like for future reference, if that was what the Paint and Sip committee wanted to do or was looking for. And then just some other random thought in my mind of, like for grant opportunities, there was a St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation, I believe. Although it's coming up, I think like July 17 is their deadline for application, but,
No, that's when they open.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Glad you're on top of it.
Yeah, always.
Awesome. I mean, like, I know it has about like capacity building, community building, and, like, I think it would be a great opportunity, maybe, like even, I don't know, like, if there was, I don't know, like, I guess, like, I don't know how much I should talk because, like, if I can't do it myself, then, like, if I'm not gonna be able to do it myself, I feel like I shouldn't be telling some other people to do it. But if there was someone else who wanted to do it, like, I think it'd be a great opportunity for more than, like, I know our mural projects always need money, but, like, if there was more things that we wanted to do that involved more like the community building, the outreach and all that stuff, I thought that would just be a good thought or opportunity. So that's all.
Okay, Stacy,
I have no new news.
Amanda?
I would just like to reiterate our ask for the snowy outreach. Make sure you follow your people. Stacy C and I will follow up with our groups, and by next meeting, we would hope to have one touch on each organization.
Can we get a copy of the full list in case we know anyone from other?
Oh, sure.
So what, are you going to send us those lists and then we take the fly?
Yeah, so C will discuss with you because you're on her group. So I do have C a list of businesses for each person in your group there. And then the number of flyers. Emily, I'll touch base with you and yeah. Do you want to pass that down to Carey? All we need is flyers in hands at this point, and if they have any questions, Stacy C and I can answer, or we can pass them on to Sara, who can get them if they want to purchase. That's all I have.
Cool. I just had one question, Sara, that was for you. So the budget request work that we did last time, is that final or is that already, no? What do we have on that, Lisa, as far as, should we still be trying to make amendments to that, or where do we think we're at?
I would suggest so, to take a look at that again. And then in terms of timing, you still have quite a bit of time. I think we have to certify our maximum levy in September.
Okay. So maybe in August, could we add an action item to just finalize that? Even just with some of the conversation that we're having today, I could see us potentially, moving some of those dollars to incorporate to hire artists, whether it's, so whether if we don't get money from the art, for the art cart grant, but, have, like, and you just mentioned, having, hiring artists for the paint and sip, for the art cart, those types of things, or other kind of events where we can have community involved, I think there's an opportunity there too to bring in diverse artists with a varied cultural expression there. So maybe something to think about. So if something for everybody to think about. We'll go through that next time we meet and finalize some of those asks. Because then the community engagement thing, I know we have $2,500 on that. I don't know if that belongs more at the council level, or if this is something, if we have more specifics about what that might look like. So something to think about. Okay, that's it. And so reports from Council Liaison. Lisa, you have anything?
Let's see. We didn't have a meeting last week because of the holiday, but prior to that, the Lilly redevelopment project had some amendments to it, and so there will still be live work spaces. The commercial space has been removed, and they're moving forward now with the project, and they were able to secure their funding, so we're on the next step, I think. So
Okay.
What do you mean by the commercial space?
there was a dedicated commercial space in the building.
Like for retail?
Like Max?
It could be retail, it could be restaurant.
So they're not doing any sort of mixed use?
It's still considered lived work. Live work is still considered mixed use, so we were able to clarify
those-
that.
Offices, they just can't have retail.
It's office, and there's some other limitations around it, but like no food. But yeah,
Those live work spaces, are there entrances on street level, or is there, you enter a hallway and then there's?
I can't remember right now.
Okay.
I thought I saw a street, but I don't want to
Yeah.
say for sure, yeah.
But council, well, at least myself, requested that the EDA get very involved in making sure that businesses do end up there. I think that's in their purview to support that, so hopefully it goes well.
Do you know what the cost on those spaces is going to be, the rent?
I can get back to you on that. Kokoro Volleyball has extended their lease, so they'll be in the gym for a little bit longer, or in the community center for a little bit longer. There was an amendment to the parking restrictions in downtown. It's limited to 2 hours now, during certain times of the day. Ramsey County had approached us with a potential offer to join them in their housing redevelopment authority. And we declined this year again. And we are moving along on our student-built housing still, so that's really wonderful. I think we will have an open house for that. Remember the date? I can look that up, but we will have an open house for that.
Where's the current one?
It's Eldridge.
Yeah, they split the lot, so there's another one for next year too. I want to say it's like 2172 or 2170 Eldridge.
And we are still negotiating a lease agreement with Triple Crown batting cages. And as you saw, the Tippy House
Yeah,
came down.
it did?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so it's down.
Tippy House, what's that?
Right next to the Dairy Queen, there's this house that was totally,
Oh, yeah. It had a fire, right?
The, it collapsed, the foundation collapsed, and so.
It looks like they had a fire.
It looked like it had a fire
yeah.
first, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was it just collapsed.
No one was in there, right?
No.
Okay.
Does the city own that property now, or is it?
Nope, he still owns, that's still his property.
I thought they could have left it as it was and it'd be a tourist destination. Like, did you ever go in South Dakota? They have that place where the Cosmos, where everything is kind of tippy and everything.
Probably not safe for that.
Missed opportunity.
The house was posted in like some Facebook groups, like quirky Minnesota places. I
Yeah.
saw it, yeah.
And on the news, I think, too, like the local news.
How long had it been tippy?
Oh, wow.
Like a month at least. It was a while. And, yeah, our fire chief was out there working with them and just, making sure we can get a fence up and all that, so. But yeah, so now it's not a hazard.
That's good.
I don't think I have anything else besides, I did get a message from a resident in regards to the concern around the timing with the art vendors and whether they would hear back. Because they had said they submitted something, but they hadn't heard back yet, and they had concerns. I think maybe not so much for themselves, but for just that population, because they're already booked out, is my understanding.
Was that like within the last week or two or prior to that?
The last few weeks, yeah.
Okay. We had reached out to the ones that had applied prior to June 26th or
Okay.
something. And now we have an extended deadline, but I don't know if those dates were previously advertised, and so that was a fault on our end. But now dates are advertised, and so
Excellent.
there is a new deadline, and we will follow up with those people after that deadline.
Great, thank you
There
so much.
was a question surrounding that, and I'm glad we brought that up. So the new deadline is July 31st, but we don't plan to reach out to them until August 18th. Is there a reason, or August 14th, is there a reason why we're,
Just to give Tom and I time to connect. It could be much earlier.
okay?
Yeah, it's just reviewing. We want to make sure that we don't have, 3 vendors that are selling the exact same thing.
Sure.
So we have to be some selectivity based on who applies, so.
Yep, okay.
So far, we haven't run into that kind of issue. But, if the people that are applying right now, they all sell, I don't know,
Mittens,
mittens. We don't want to have too many mittens being sold.
not in Minnesota.
They sold like hotcakes. C bought some last year because it was so cold.
It could be the hit. Never know.
Yeah. Okay, anything else, Lisa?
No, but I will answer any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions for Lisa?
I forget, did you say for the Silver Lake that by the road, there was going to be some pathway created? Did we say that that was going forward, or?
Yeah, there was a request from the legislature for that. I don't think we received funding for that this time around, but there's still a lot of desire, I think, from council and our surrounding partners like
Yeah.
the county and Oakdale and things like that to have a complete walkway around Silver Lake.
I don't know how we didn't get funding because everything else in Minnesota got funding this year. Any other questions for Lisa? If not, I am looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second? Anybody?
Seconded.
Great. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 8:28 PM. Thanks, everyone.